Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am PANCZASU and I have a few minutes for Darkest Dungeon. I believe this is the most epic intro to any video I have ever done, and it's going to stay this way for quite a while. Now, this video in particular is going to be the second of my pilot episodes for the Few Minutes 4 series. Yes, there can be more than one pilot, which I'm proving right about now. So, as the last time, comments about the format and your suggestions on improvements and whatnot, ideas are greatly appreciated. But, let's get right on with it, shall we? What is Darkest Dungeon? It's an RPG. No, it is not a roguelike like some people claim it is. It is an RPG. It does have permanent death, but plenty of RPGs do, and they're not roguelikes. This particular game had its moments on Kickstarter. It was successfully funded and made its way all the way to Steam Early Access, which in my mind always raises a bunch of red flags ASAP. So first things first, I believe you're tired of this screen already, so let's listen to the narrator for a second, who is indeed quite epic and will explain the tone of the game to you.
My obsession caused this great foulness, and it is shameful that I must rely upon you to set it right.
Epic voice, ain't it? The overall idea of this game is that you are a crazy person, most likely, that is in some way related to another crazy person that died. I know it's a bit complex, but don't worry, it's gonna get worse. And you're using a bunch of other crazy people to do your bidding for basically nothing. They're like your slaves in the end. They're kind of like masochist actually, and you're the sadist. You're sending them on dangerous missions. Most of the times they die on said missions or go insane, which usually equals to be the same thing in the end. And they give you all the treasure and keep nothing for themselves. Like, I'm not too sure what's the deal with people in this game, but it seems like everybody is nuts, which I love. I mean, I cannot deny the atmosphere of this game. The story, although right now it's not very well developed, but still, the story, atmosphere, voice acting, obviously, everything is really good in this game, so that's the game's strong suit, as it should be in an RPG, even if it's combat-focused RPG. Now, what you see right now is the town screen. Between missions, this is where you are at. Over time, this town grows. It doesn't start like this. It starts in complete and utmost ruin. It is still in a bit of a ruin, but I have spent a lot of time upgrading it. So if we go into any of those structures, you can see that when we click on this particular button, you can spend some, let's call them, well, stuff. To improve each particular building. Different buildings require different things. For example, if I want to improve the abbey, I generally need to have busts and crests. These are the things that you obtain from missions, and these allow you to increase the effectiveness of certain structures. Now, some structures allow your heroes to heal from stress. After each mission, your heroes will most likely, though not necessarily, suffer from certain amount of stress, though it is also possible that if your mission goes really well, you will actually lower the amount of stress you have on certain hero. But we'll get to that later. However, regardless, your heroes will need quite a lot of work between missions, and those structures will allow you to do just that. By having your heroes rest in a city, they can recover from stress, they can stop going insane, and you can keep on using them. You can also remove some negative quirks that they have, like I'm doing with one of my heroes right now. He's got lockjaw, I'm getting rid of it right now because I don't want him to have this. So, you may be still confused, and that's fine, but we'll get to everything one by one. This game is actually surprisingly complex, like an RPG should be. Other structures in the town also allow you to upgrade heroes for the missions. It doesn't necessarily help them fight with stress that they encounter, but I can, for example, have my hero learn new skills and level up those skills to be more effective as the game goes on. It's very important to do because it allows your heroes to actually do something as opposed to being horribly slaughtered every step of the way, which is indeed quite important in it. Each hero has a decent set of stats that you can have a look at and mess around with. They've got all different types of resistances, base stats that tell you how well they fight. They've got a ton of quirks. Quirks can be all sorts of things. You generally earn a random quirk at the end of each mission for each hero. It doesn't have to happen. Sometimes a mission ends with hero gaining no quirks, sometimes they gain multiple quirks. And those can be either good or bad quirks. You can also gain good or bad quirks during the mission, depending on what happens in said mission. Good quirks will always stay there, which is good because they, for the most part, help you a lot. Bad quirks you can only get rid of if you use this, what is it called again? Sanitarium, sorry. So you can get rid of the quirks this way if you really need to. Additionally, you can upgrade your equipment slightly, you can upgrade your skills like I showed it to you, and this includes both battle skills, go away, whatever. This includes both battle skills and camping skills. Camping skills are fairly simple. Sometimes during missions you can camp, and this allows you to activate those skills once in each mission, or more than once if you have a longer mission. And they are usually very, very powerful. You can also give your heroes special trinkets, as you can see I have a ton of those, and they allow your heroes to be more useful. However, if your heroes die while wearing those trinkets are lost forever. So it's usually a good idea to only give trinkets to heroes that you trust to stay alive. Now, when you want to go to a mission, you go ahead and click and back, you select a mission that you want to participate in, and you select your desired party. It is important to stress out the provision system in this game. Before every mission you have to buy some provisions. They cost you gold, and it's usually a good idea to buy a lot of them, which forces you to actually manage your gold, which I completely forgot about in all honesty, which means that I'll be entering this dungeon with a woefully low amount of supplies. I do believe that for the most part, especially in medium length dungeons like the one I'm entering, 12 food is the absolute minimum, and you should probably aim for 16 with a bunch of torches, and usually you want to have a shovel or skeleton key. Skeleton key gives you very good rewards when you find chests. Shovel is necessary because if you find an obstacle and you don't have a shovel, your heroes will suffer a ton of stress. As you jump into a mission, this is what you will see. You start in a room, this is going to be your map, this is where you move around. You have to plan your moves in order to try to complete your mission objective. You don't have to do this, you can abandon the quest at any point. You will not get any rewards, but you'll keep everything you have found until this point, and your heroes will keep any experience that they gain during their travels, which is rather important. So there's no problems with you abandoning quests. I've done it several times and it saved me a ton. When you want to move on to another room, you just click on it, you move along. Then you find different obstacles or strange oddities along the way. You can, for example, find an Iron Maiden, which you can try to see what is inside. Nothing goes inside, that's unusual, usually deals damage to me or makes me bleed or something, but okay. There are also traps, I'm surprised I haven't stepped into one right now, but I guess it happens. And there's also light you need to keep an eye out. You can play with no light levels. You can allow your torch to run out. It is a game mechanic, in fact. You can do this. This lowers the scouting, which means that you are less prepared for what is going to happen in the next rooms. But on the other hand, you will also gain better rewards for clearing said rooms. I found something useful, I got the rewards, and I can leave the mission right now. It wouldn't be worth it. Actually, yes it would. I already gained more than I spent on the resources. Now you do not keep the resources as you exit your dungeon. This is important to remember. But so before you exit the dungeon, you do want to spend all of the resources that you have gathered up until the exit, because you know there's no point in staying. And oh ho, a battle! Like I was hoping we would find one. You have several abilities. Each hero can only have 4 abilities prepared, but they can know more abilities you can only use 4 at any particular battle at any given time. These abilities have different effects, like this one for example, it's meant to debuff the enemy and deal very minor damage. It didn't do me too well this time, but hey, things like that do happen. If heroes go to 100% stress, they freak out and they spread stress like a disease to other people, which is generally considered a very bad thing. They can also do things out of their own free will, which means that you lose control over your characters if you let the stress build up too much. The battle system can be applauded. It is relatively complex. There are a number of different abilities, all with very different effects. Like for example, I can right now reinforce with my Crusader, so he takes less damage. I can go ahead and just try to stun one of the enemies. And again, UI does tell you what are you also doing particular things. I can try to attack multiple at a time, or I can attack a single one with better damage. So there's a ton of options for the people who like options, which, you know, in an RPG it's almost a necessity, and it's always nice to see that things like that are indeed over there. As you win battles, you can take the treasure, you can also investigate the rune that you found. This is where the skeleton key would have been useful, but nevertheless this time it didn't matter. If you're on a longer mission than a short mission, then you can use firewood in order to camp. This allows you to rest. Not only does it heal you, it also allows you to regain stress. Yes, we know, narrator, you're awesome. And allows you to use a certain amount of abilities that, generally speaking, allow your companions to regain stress and health, and also buff them for things that will happen later. So my overall conclusion on this game is that it's already pretty good. And if you feel like the current price of the game is justifying, let's say, more or less 10 hours of gameplay, I think you should go ahead and buy it. However, keep in mind that it is in early access, which means that if you like what you see right now, you can buy it. But do not, and I repeat, do not expect there to be more, because there doesn't have to be. In theory, the developer is under no obligation to finish the game. What you're buying might be what you're gaining. Regardless, I had a decent amount of fun with this game and I have no intention of playing it anymore until endgame is added. That said, I already played it for about 10 hours and I had a good amount of fun and already got my money's worth in my opinion. So yeah, it's fun. It was PANCZASU, also known as the Mighty Mix Spammer, and I'll see you online.